Hi, and welcome to Andrea Gamero Coaching and NoPainAllGain.ca. Thank you so much for joining me today. And today we'll be talking about the joys of homeschooling. So you may not realize this, but I actually homeschool my kids, and the joys of homeschooling cannot be underestimated. I've been homeschooling my kids since my daughter was in grade 2 and my son was in kindergarten. It is incredible to think that it's been 9 years so far. So this actually will be my son's last year of homeschooling with me as his academic teacher, as he's now in grade 9, and he will be doing grade 10 through 12 online, just like his sister does. So it's a bit bittersweet for me knowing that this is 9 years is coming to a close very soon. And as daunting as it has been, it has been so much fun. It's been amazing to watch them to learn their different learning styles, to find curriculum and material that fits their needs and interests. And so if you've been considering homeschooling your own kids, here are some great reasons why you should go for it. So what are the benefits of homeschooling your kids? Here are my top 5 reasons. 1, developing a lifelong love of learning. 2, family values. 3, location. 4, safety of your children. 5, tailoring their education for their interests. So let's start with developing a lifelong love of learning. So from the time my daughter was a baby, God convicted me that I was to stay home and raise my children so we could give them a firm foundation. If Mary was Jesus' primary educator as a child, then my university degree would give me more than enough training to teach my children as well. My husband and I were both convicted that we should homeschool our children to give them the best possible education for our area. So the main goal I had from the very beginning was to make my kids be lifelong lovers of learning. This concept had been passed on from my grandfather. He was a very, very bright man, but he didn't have the finances in his day to be able to go for higher education after high school. He needed to go get a job and start building his financial future so that he could marry my grandmother and start the family that they'd always wanted. So what he had done in his life was he self-educated himself. He read as many books, magazine articles. He was a very educated man. He read widely. And so the love of learning had always been a part of our family culture. And with my, long life and going through school, I had seen so many kids just get burned out from school at a young age because of the attitude of their teachers. And I didn't want my kids to finish high school and never want to open up a book again. I wanted to share my love of learning with them so that they realized that no matter what they wanted to pursue in life, they could do it. They could have that avenue to educate themselves, whether they went on to college or university or not, although we are, of course, pushing them in that direction, but that they could find the means to get that education. And it's not like it was in my day where when I went through high school and even university, we didn't have access to computers. There was no worldwide internet. I mean, by the time I was in university, it was starting. But as undergrad students, we didn't have access to those computers and that technology at the University of Victoria back then. So we'd have to go to the library, go and look at encyclopedias or whatever books may be on the shelves, take them out, borrow them, read them, return them. But we didn't have the access to information that is now at everybody's fingertips. I mean, with Professor Google, you can have the answer to anything quite quickly. And it's so giving the tools to my kids so whatever their interests are, they can just access it. They know where to go. They know that they can get information for whatever it is they want to access in life. And that is just so important to me, that they were not turned off by a teacher that wasn't able to teach in the learning style that worked for them. so that they were just like, I can't wait to get out of high school and forget it. I'm not opening another book. I'll just live off welfare, whatever. That was just not what I wanted for my kids. So knowing that I was their teacher, I could be able to instill for them and show the love I had for learning so that they could embrace it too. The great thing in Canada, and I believe the US is the same, is that you are provided with incredible range of homeschooling curriculum these days. And especially in Canada, if you go through a registered homeschool provider as your over-encompassing facilitator, you get a facilitator sent to you to help you choose your curriculum. You'll also get partial funding for your supplies as well. So, there's just so much out there. It can be overwhelming, but with your facilitators, they'll help steer you on the right track. I've had some great facilitators over the years and some not so great, but you know what? If it's not working for you, you can always change providers. You're never stuck with one that just doesn't fit with your values or is just not helping you provide the opportunities you want for your kids. So, yeah, I just jump in there and find the curriculum that works best for you. And of course, another really important thing for homeschooling is family values. And in the culture we live in these days, with us being Christians, the cultural values being taught in our school system, even at the time when our kids were babies, we could see where the road was heading, and we knew that wasn't what we wanted. And if your child is spending 6 to 8 hours a day outside of your care, they're going to be learning the behaviors and ideas of their classmates, of the teachers, of the environment that they're in. So how can you raise them with the values that you want them to have when they're not getting that same message all day long, 5 days a week? Well, it's pretty hard to do that. And we knew that we wanted them to have a respect for each other and for all those around them. We wanted them to have a love for God, a love for each other, and a respect for human life. And so we knew that was not going to happen in the school system. So we knew that the values that we wanted our kids to have, the things that were important to us that we wanted to share with them, we are their earthly parents, but their eternal salvation is also important to us. And so we wanted to make sure that they got the best education possible so that not just their earthly needs were met, but their eternal salvation was taken care of as well. And so that's what homeschooling let us do, is that we could make sure that they got the top education they could get for their earthly life and the life to come. It was also surprising to me that our culture wants to send our kids off to somebody else for preschool at age 3, age 4, and that didn't really sit well with me. When they start to hit age 4, they're just becoming their own little person. They're so interesting and they're able to do so much. It's like, why was I going to let my children, why would I hand them off to someone else to enjoy all day long? And I really didn't like that idea. So my husband and I, we looked at a lot of different options for them, for their education, and we just decided it would be better if they stayed home with us. So that's what we did. So another great, amazing benefit of homeschooling is you get the choice of location. So whether you want to travel the world so your kids can see other cultures, whether you want to go to Disneyland in the off season, whatever it is you want to do, you can do homeschooling from anywhere, from your kitchen table, from a beach, from a park, anywhere you want to go. You can do homeschooling from there. You just bring your materials with you and you can do it from there. It gives you the flexibility to just, the world's your oyster at that point, because you can do it from anywhere. My kids also got more education days within the year because we never had to deal with snow days or power outages or storms or, we or professional development days that they have at school, my kids would be home with me doing their schoolwork. And you'd also be surprised at how much filler stuff gets put into the day that doesn't really need to be there. We would be done most of our days before noon. And then the kids would have the afternoon to pursue their own interests and things that they really enjoyed doing. And so being able to have the freedom of working from wherever you are, it's just golden. It's just amazing. When there's family emergencies, my family is not in our area, and neither is my husband. So there's been some family emergency times that we've had that we've just been able to pack up the kids, take all their stuff and go, or take that week off. Didn't have to get permission from anybody else. We could just take that week off and then catch up that week at a later date. And we wouldn't have that opportunity if we weren't homeschooling. The other joy of homeschooling is that the education possibilities never really stop, because we could be learning something in the morning, and then later in the day we could be watching stuff on YouTube, or an educational program might come on, or we might bump into somebody on the street or have some kind of situation where we could continue that learning from home, because I already knew what their math, English, science, and social studies topics were. So I could just, loop these experiences back to what we had been learning before. So it didn't confine our learning between 9 and 3. The learning never really stopped, and you could always find a moment to bring an educational moment into your day. And another tricky topic with homeschooling is your children's safety. So for those living in North America, the tragedies of the school shootings that happen and the threats of these horrible activities, the shootings, the bombings, the bullying that happens on a daily basis, it's the percentages, you can look at the statistics and see that school shootings or threats, the chances of them happening to your child are not very high. But if they do happen to your child, it doesn't matter what the statistics say. But when you're homeschooling, you can have the safety of knowing that they're going to be safe with you. My daughter went to school for the first 2 years, and what we didn't know at the time was she was actually being very badly bullied by a number of the members of her class. And we didn't discover this until after we had pulled them out from that school. My daughter had been asked by the teacher to help a child next to her that wasn't able to follow along, and when she did, that child bit her. And that was pretty much the end of it for us. We knew that our school days outside of the home were over, and we pulled them and we started homeschooling them right away, and we haven't looked back. We know that is the best choice we could have made for both our kids, and today they are thriving and healthy, and it's been such a joy being able to homeschool our kids, not worry about them being bullied in a classroom or any of the other horrible tragedies that seem to be splashed across our news reports on a way too frequent basis. One of the really great benefits of homeschooling is being able to tailor their subjects for their own personal interests. With my daughter, she was a reader before she even started school. She loves books, still does, just gobbles them up. My son, not so much. So teaching him to read was a challenge because he just really didn't have the interest. But what he did have the interest was in natural life. So the animal world, nature. He loved sports. He really loved cougars. He loved football, hockey. So what I could do is go to our public library, which here in Medicine Hat, we have a wonderful library. They just do such a fabulous job keeping so many incredible resources at our disposal. And so I could get books on cougars, other wildlife, hockey, and football, and we could use those books to help him to read. Because it was when it came time to sit down and read, the eyes would roll, he'd start, the harumphing would start, and he just wasn't interesting. But by being able to bring these books in, he was interested. And so at first it would be one word at a time, and then he'd read a couple of words, I'd read a couple of words, then it would be sentences, paragraphs, pages, and before long he was reading. And this wouldn't have been possible. It would have been much more of a fight had he been in a classroom where the teachers demanded he read specific curriculum, because of course when you got 30 kids in a class, of course you have to do that. But for him, he just did not learn that way very well. So by being able to homeschool him and being able to tailor it to his interests, it was a lot less of a fight than it would have been otherwise. The other thing is like with math. When my son has got a concept, he's got a concept. So if you put down a piece of paper with 20 to 30 math questions on it, there is no way he was going to do it. But being able to put 10 questions on a math page and then letting him and making sure that he got the concept. I mean, after 10 questions, they've pretty much got the concept. So if they need to do 30 or 50 of these questions, that's just a time filler for the day. So it also helped being able to homeschool him, was able to give him enough to show me he knew the concepts and had got the point. Then we could move on to the next thing, made him happier and me happier, and kept the frustration for both of us down to a minimum. So that is another way that homeschooling is just so much more superior to what he would have been offered in school. So this is truly only the tip of the iceberg for why homeschooling has been such a joy for us. I mean, we've been able to tailor things to their interests, and I could introduce subjects like singing, piano, the arts, and they did Spanish instead of French because my husband's family speaks Spanish. So it made more sense for them to learn the language of that, so they could, relate to their family down in El Salvador. And it's been just such a joy being able to discover their unique learning styles and being able to tailor things for those styles. And being able to, YouTube is such a treasure trove of information. We've been able to find things like the Crash Course series. They do Crash Course history. I think even music. They do history and science and math and English and literature. And if there's a topic, you can probably find a crash course on it. And they're so much fun. The kids love working with that. We found things like Wildcrats and Jonathan Bird's Blue World and National Geographic. There's just no end to the educational videos and shows that you can see on YouTube that can help enhance their learning experience. The textbooks are great too, but to have that the visual on top of the written, it just has helped them understand the concepts and retain the concepts so much better. When the kids develop their own interests, we could focus on those as well. And we could just flex and move with the things that they wanted to learn, and then move away from the things that just weren't as important. So the joys of homeschooling are truly endless. And you can do it too. If you have been debating at all about homeschooling your kids, I know you can do it. The fact that you're thinking about it, you can do it. There's so many resources out there. So if you've been thinking about it, feel free to reach out to me at andrea@nopainallgain.ca, and I would be happy to chat with you and to work through any of your fears or questions about what homeschooling can bring. So thank you so much for joining with me today. You could be anywhere, but you chose to be here, and I do really appreciate that. So if you like this content, please like and subscribe. It really helps the content get out to other people, and it shows me that there is a need and a desire and an interest in this information so that I can make more. I hope you have a wonderful week. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Did you know that one-on-one coaching is a great way to break through the things that are holding you back so you can go after the life of your dreams? Well, that's what I do. I help people see their life through a different lens so that they can discover the issues that are causing them, the stumbling blocks that are holding them back. They can break through them and move forward to create the life they've always wanted. So if this sounds like something that might be interesting for you, please feel free to contact me at andrea@nopainallgain.ca. We can set up a time for our free consultation to see if working together would be a good fit for both of us. And then we can set up some times and we can break through those issues that are holding you back. Hope you have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.